Hello, true believers. This is David again for Comics and Crosses, where we try to explore eternal truths within our modern mythology of comic books. This is another installment of Bad Lighting Review. This time I'm looking into the current arc of the Department of Truth. This is the cover of issue number 38, which is the final issue in the 3-issue arc. In general, first and foremost, I'd give it the whole arc an 8 out of 10. It's hard to give any story by James Tynion IV a bad review. He's just such a fantastic story writer and storyteller. This is no different. This arc is a flashback arc that the Department of Truth does every once in a while to explore the origins of one of their main characters. This time it's about Hunky, who's the computer nerd, the computer guy within the Department of Truth, and he apparently has some father issues. There's plenty of nepotism within the Department of Truth, which has given Hunky a job, but he's struggling to succeed in his father's world because he's not at all like his father. He's a complete nerd. He's fat, where his father was this big, bulky, macho man. But Hunky goes through a very good character arc through these 3 issues. He's totally relatable, lovable. I like him a lot. These 3 issues are drawn by guest artist Ben Templesmith, who unfortunately is no Martin Simmons. Martin Simmons is great and fantastic. Ben Templesmith is good, just not as good as Martin Simmons. Templesmith obviously knows what he's doing. He draws some really good sequential moments and sequential pages. His composition is good. The camera angles look good. He draws pretty cool dinosaurs, which I'll get into in a moment. But the whole style looks, for my taste, too much like a cartoon series, something like Rick and Morty or King of the Hill, and that's just not really my thing. But I will admit, this cartoon-like art does fit pretty well with the main plot, or at least an aspect of the main plot. As I said, it's a flashback. It's set in the 1990s, and Hunky goes up against a group of fundamentalist Christian televangelists. Yeah, which is why I'm talking about it here on Comics and Crosses, because we're looking at that intersection of comics and Christian faith. And I say Templesmith's cartoon-like art really fits with this plot line because the comic basically depicts these Christians as complete caricatures of every horrible news story that you've ever heard about hypocritical and basically downright bad and evil Christians. Yeah, which is unfortunately too often how Christians are depicted within modern media. I want to get into these depictions in a little more depth and a little more detail in longer videos. You can find links to those videos in the description to this video. But let me give you a little bit of an overview. First off, these fundamentalist Christians believe in a literal interpretation of the Bible, which puts, of course, their faith, or at least the faith they profess, at odds with science, to the point that they profess that humans lived alongside dinosaurs. They even made a theme park about it to promote this worldview and, to make money. And of course, in the world of the Department of Truth, if enough people believe that dinosaurs lived alongside humans, then the dinosaurs manifests and they start killing people, and that's why the Department of Truth has to get involved. I'm going to do one video about this idea of faith and science and how often it's seen within popular culture and what I actually think about it. The other aspect of Christians that's depicted in this arc is that the Christian leaders in this church are all white, older businessmen with bad toupees and business suits. And there's an emphasis on the men part. There's no women, of course. And of course, they are much more interested in profit. They're much more interested in money and greed than they actually are in Christian beliefs. The only woman involved is a young girl, and she's completely indoctrinated. And of course, all these older white men, they have horrible secret sins that come out. They're hypocrites. This exaggerated view and depiction of fundamentalist Christians goes so far that I'm almost glad with Tynion and Templesmith because it's so exaggerated. The caricatures are so extreme that it's very easy to dismiss this depiction as very far from the norm, and I believe it's far from the norm. These people aren't really living any sort of Christian life at all. And I know that there are churches with Christians like this, and there are also churches that are led by Christians like this. Um, but that's not the normal, at least not my opinion of what's normal for Christianity. And so it still makes me sad. It makes me sad that Christians are so often represented in popular media and popular culture by the absolute worst of the hypocritical worst. I'll make another video about that. Again, look into the links in the description of this video for longer videos that go into these depictions of Christianity within the Department of Truth. Despite this, the story arc's fun. It's well written, they fight dinosaurs, Hunky is a lovable character, and the bad guys get what they deserve in the end. I can recommend picking up the Department of Truth, reading through it. It's very thought-provoking. It's very fun. And again, I'll get into these other ideas with the depictions of Christianity within the other videos. Check that out. And check out our other videos here on the channel. Thanks for watching.